Welcome to Whispers in the Dark, the show that delves into the most spine-chilling tales and eerie encounters from the shadows of the unknown. I'm your host, Eddie, and I'll be guiding you through the darkest corner of the human experience. Tonight, we'll explore a sinister story of love, magic, and unforeseen consequences of dabbling with the supernatural. Prepare to uncover the chilling secrets of a twisted confection that unleashes a nightmare beyond your wildest imagination. So turn off the lights, sit back, and let the whispers lead you into the realm of Beware the Gingerbread Man, the nightmare unleashed by a twisted confection. Sarah was a genuinely kind-hearted person, yet she couldn't shake the pervasive feeling of loneliness that weighed heavily on her heart. One fateful day, she found herself browsing the shelves of a small bookstore. It was one of her favorite places. As she browsed the titles, Sarah crossed paths with a warm and charismatic woman named Amelia, who struck up a conversation with her. Their connection was instant, and Amelia wasted no time inviting Sarah to join her for a cup of coffee at a nearby cafe. As they sipped their beverages and exchanged pleasantries, Amelia seemed to embody the essence of a perfect life, leaving Sarah in awe and a little envious of her newfound friend. Unable to contain her curiosity, Sarah playfully inquired about Amelia's secret to such a fulfilling existence. Amelia leaned in, her eyes twinkling with mischief, and revealed that she was, in fact, a witch. Sarah's initial reaction was one of disbelief, and she brushed off the confession as a lighthearted joke. Amelia was, however, eager to prove her claim, and gently took Sarah's hand. She delicately traced the lines etched into Sarah's palm. As she did so, she unveiled intimate details about Sarah's life, particularly her deep-seated loneliness. Stunned and amazed, Sarah could no longer doubt the woman's mystical abilities. Amelia, sensing Sarah's genuine need for help, offered to assist her without charge, a rare departure from her usual fee. She explained that any further magical assistance would come at a cost, to which Sarah cautiously agreed. Amelia then penned a spell on a piece of paper designed to summon the perfect man into Sarah's life. As a final touch, she jotted down her number at the bottom of the page, ensuring Sarah could easily reach her if she desired additional spells. For a price, of course. With their coffee cups empty and the spell in hand, Sarah and Amelia parted ways. Sarah rushed home. Once home, Sarah carefully examined the spell Amelia had given her, and it appeared to be more like a recipe for a gingerbread man than what she thought a traditional incantation would be. The instructions indicated that she should add specific ingredients to imbue the cookie with various desirable attributes, which would then transfer to the man who ate it. Although Sarah wasn't an expert baker, she'd made her fair share of cookies and felt confident she could handle the task. To make her ideal man, Sarah combined sugar to ensure he would be sweet, walnuts for strength, nutmeg to add an air of intrigue, and some cinnamon to make him intelligent. As she mixed these ingredients into the gingerbread dough, she couldn't help but marvel at the uniqueness of this enchanted treat. Once the cookie was shaped and ready, Sarah placed it in the oven and settled on her sofa, pondering who she would ultimately choose to receive the magical dessert. A few handsome colleagues came to mind, but Sarah's thoughts soon turned to potential complications. What if the recipient didn't eat the entire cookie? Or worse, what if it was shared between two people? Searching for the answers, she began to peruse the recipe, only to drift off to sleep unintentionally. The shrill blare of the smoke alarm jolted Sarah awake. Frustrated that she had burnt the first gingerbread man, she reminded herself that she could always bake another. After disabling the alarm and turning off the oven, she went to retrieve the ruined cookie, only to find it missing. Perplexed, she wondered if it had been burnt to a crisp and simply disintegrated. Determined to succeed, Sarah started over and carefully prepared a second gingerbread man. This time she watched it like a hawk, ensuring it baked to perfection. Once it was ready, she gingerly placed the cookie in a Ziploc bag and stored it in the refrigerator for safekeeping. The following morning, Sarah carefully carried the enchanted gingerbread man with her to work, eagerly anticipating the arrival of her charming colleague, Dale. As soon as he walked through the door, Sarah hurried over to greet him. They exchanged warm smiles and friendly small talk before Sarah excitedly presented the gingerbread man to him. She described how she discovered a peculiar yet delicious recipe and couldn't resist sharing it with him, especially since it was filled with nuts and extra sweetness. Dale's cheeks flushed with flattery, and he graciously accepted the magical treat. As he took the first bite, Sarah held her breath in anticipation. By the second bite, she could hardly contain her excitement. Upon hearing Dale's enthusiastic, "Wow," after the third bite, she watched as he quickly devoured the rest of the cookie. Sarah gazed up at Dale and inquired how he felt. He said he felt great and complimented the cookie's exceptional taste before excusing himself to start his workday. The feeling of disappointment covered Sarah as she returned to her cubicle. She wondered what could have possibly gone wrong with the spell. She had followed the recipe so meticulously. Lost in her own thoughts, she was startled when Dave appeared at the entrance of her cubicle, asking if she had any plans for that evening. Overjoyed and in disbelief, Sarah eagerly accepted his invitation for a date. The night was nothing short of incredible, as they laughed and connected over a romantic dinner. Their enchanting evening ultimately led back to Sarah's apartment, where they continued to enjoy each other's company well into the night. As Dale drifted off to sleep in Sarah's room, it seemed that the spell had worked. The day after their magical date, Dale made it a point to frequently pass by Sarah's cubicle, leaving her little notes and tokens of affection that brightened her day. When she asked if they could go out again that evening, Dale regretfully declined, explaining that he had a commitment to visit his mother that evening. Nevertheless, they eagerly rescheduled their next date for the following night. However, the next day, Dale was unexpectedly absent from work. Concerned and disappointed, Sarah tried calling him, but her calls went unanswered. A whirlwind of thoughts raced through her mind. Had the cookie's effects worn off? Did his mother say something to change his feelings towards her? Sarah couldn't help but worry about what might have caused this sudden shift in Dale's behavior. Sarah's troubled thoughts were abruptly interrupted when her department boss Henry called for an impromptu meeting. During the gathering, Henry somberly revealed that Dale had tragically passed away. He shared that they didn't have much information at the moment, but there was a possibility that the police would need to interview some of the employees. The news hit Sarah like a ton of bricks, leaving her devastated and overwhelmed with grief. Dale had not only been a great coworker, but also a genuine friend. She couldn't fathom what could have possibly happened to him. Sarah asked Henry if the police would need to speak with her specifically. He told her he couldn't be certain, but if they did, they would likely reach out to her. Deciding that she needed some time to process the heartbreaking news, Sarah informed her boss that she would be taking a personal day and could be contacted at home if the police required her assistance. Tears streamed down Sarah's face during the entire commute home, and she continued to cry as she settled into her dark living room. Hoping to distract herself in the flickering glow of the television, she sobbed, feeling utterly alone. Suddenly, she heard a voice. "Why are you crying, Sarah?" Startled, she wondered if it was just the TV. She looked around, unable to pinpoint the source of the voice, but began to notice the scent of something burnt in the air. "Did Dale hurt you?" the voice inquired again, more urgently this time. Panic-stricken, Sarah leapt from the sofa and raced into her bedroom, locking the door behind her. She listened. There was a sound coming from the hallway. Sound of something small and light approaching, like the footsteps of a tiny creature. She watched the door. To her horror, a burnt gingerbread man's head appeared beneath the gap of her bedroom door. "Don't worry, Sarah," it reassured her. "He can't hurt you anymore. It can be just the two of us." Terrified, Sarah screamed and dashed past the gingerbread man, seeking refuge in the bathroom. Frantically, she stuffed towels under the door, hoping to keep the menacing creature at bay. In a desperate attempt to reach the witch, Sarah dialed the number Amelia had given her, only to find it disconnected. Meanwhile, the gingerbread man's voice called out to her, pleading for her to let him in so they could be together. "No!" she shouted. "Why?" he responded. "I'm perfect, remember? Sweet and strong and interesting and smart and burnt," Sarah interjected. The gingerbread man fell silent for a moment before exclaiming, "You're upset that I'm burnt? You burned me!" Infuriated, the gingerbread man began forcing his way through the towels. Sarah struggled to hold them in place, but the determined creature eventually managed to break into the bathroom. "I guess I'll just have to eat you the way I ate that idiot Dale," the gingerbread man menacingly declared. At that very moment, a knock echoed through Sarah's apartment. It was the police. They had come to ask her some questions. The unexpected sound momentarily distracted her from the impending danger. Seizing the opportunity, the gingerbread man lunged forward and bit Sarah viciously. She screamed in pain, alerting the officers outside. Panicked, they began pounding on her front door, attempting to force their way inside. With determined effort, they managed to break down the door and rushed in. What they found was a horrifying sight. Sarah lay lifeless on the floor, her body surrounded by a gruesome mixture of cookie crumbs and blood, the same as were seen in Dale's apartment. Due to the blood-soaked pieces of cookies scattered around Dale and Sarah's lifeless bodies, the case became known as the Case of the Crimson Crumbs. Despite the authorities' best efforts to unravel the mystery, the circumstances surrounding their tragic demise remains unsolved to this very day. Well, horror family, we've reached the end of tonight's haunting tale of dark deserts here on Whispers in the Dark. Remember, you are what makes this show special, and I'm grateful for each and every one of you joining me on these creepy adventures. I'd wish dessert sweet dreams for all of you tonight, but on this show, sweet dreams are not guaranteed. Good night.